Greetings, mathematicians. In this video, we're going to start with some word problems where we will be writing our own expressions and equations and then using those to solve the problems. So let's start with this one. So here we have Sam, who texted 4 times as many messages as Dana sent yesterday. And we want to write an equation to represent the number of texts that Sam sent. Don't forget, whenever you do this, you also need to define your variables. And then after we come up with our equation, we're going to use that equation to figure out how many messages Dana sent, knowing that Sam sent 20. So first up, we're going to define our variables. Now, a lot of times we just used x and maybe y if we need a second variable. Sometimes in a word problem, it makes sense to use letters that relate to your problem. So I chose to use D for the number of messages that Dana sent and S for the number of messages that Sam sent. Then I'm going to go back and reread the problem again to come up with my equation. So Sam texted 4 times as many messages as Dana. So S equals 4 times D. Now the second part of the problem, now I'm going to use that equation to figure out how many messages did Dana send if I know that Sam sent 20. So Sam is 20. That means I'm going to put in a 20 for the S and solve for D. Now, remember what you've learned in previous years, that if you're solving for D, you've got to use your inverse operations. So right now that says 4 times D. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And on the other side, 20 divided by 4 is 5. So that means that Dana sent 5 messages. Now here's our next example. So next we have Brooke. Brooke wants to buy a car for $14,000, and her down payment is going to be $2,000. She's going to make 60 monthly payments to pay off the rest of the car. We're going to come up with an equation to represent this situation, making sure we define our variables, and then we want to use that equation to figure out what is her monthly payment going to be. So the thing that we don't know is how much she's going to pay every month for her monthly payment. So that's our variable. What we do know is that she's going to make 60 of those monthly payments. So 60 times the amount she's going to pay every month plus her down payment is going to equal the total amount that she would pay overall. So that's our equation. And then for the second part, we're going to solve that equation. So to solve this, again, remember that you're going to use order of operations in reverse, and you're going to use inverse operations. So this is going back to some of your previous courses to remember this. But remember, the first thing you're going to do is get rid of anything that was added or subtracted on the side of your variable. So the first thing we would do is subtract 2,000 from both sides. When you do 2,000 minus 2,000, that's equal to 0 because those are inverses. And then the next thing you would do is you've got 60 times P. The opposite of multiplying by 60 is dividing by 60, and 60 divided by 60 equals 1. So you would just get 1p over here. And then what that tells us is that the monthly payments will be $200. And next up, we have a problem for you to try. So go ahead and pause the video, give this problem a try on your own, and then come back to check your work. All right, and welcome back. Checking your work, you should have come up with something along these lines. Make sure you've defined your variables. You may not have used J and D, but something along those lines, for J being the number of points that the Jets scored and D being the number of points that the Dolphins scored. The Jets scored 3 times as many points as the Dolphins, so J equals 3 times D. Inverse operation of multiplication is division, so divide both sides by 3. And that tells us that the Dolphins scored 8 points.